Hello, everybody, and welcome back for the second segment of the October 29th Trips and Traps. I'm Andy Serling, Eric Donovan.
Three more races to bring you, and I think a couple of very promising two-year-olds that we're going to show to start off the segment here. We'll get to the Mohawk Stakes a little bit later on. Last race of the Belmont Fall Championship meet, but let's talk about these two-year-olds. One of the races we'll show you also from Sunday. The second race, the number one horse, Fly Down, and this is a first-time starter from the Nick Zito barn.
Yeah, and I thought Fly Down ran well in here, and I also thought the winner, Litigation Risk, was okay in here as well. He's number 5. But right away, you'll see Fly Down breaking a little slowly, and I think he breaks a little slowly, but as we'll see when we look at the head-on, there were mitigating circumstances to why he ends up as far back as he does. But he is clearly a horse that has no speed. This was a racetrack that was pretty kind to speed, I think, the main track, as it dried out so quickly after all the rains on Saturday. And Fly Down's a horse, as you'll see, he's actually going to leave the picture. He lingers in the back of the pack after trouble to start. The two favorites are involved in the pace, and I don't think they're flying along early. I don't think it was a case of a huge speed battle he took advantage of. Fly Down ran like the kind of two-year-old you like to see, that got his leg under him late and was really running.
Tough spot breaking from the rail, going 7 furlongs for a first-time starter, especially for, a son of mine shaft here. You're not really expecting to probably be that keyed up first time out, and from the Zito barn as well. Take a look at where Fly Down is now, and you can't expect him to do really any kind of significant running, especially considering that the two favorites in here, which I think are both pretty talented horses. They're going to run 1-2 in this spot here, but Fly Down makes up a ton of ground in the stretch, and just really, once he gets going, he showed that he's a colt with some potential.
Yeah, this is not a horse that's going to pay a big price. In fact, he'll be an underlay the next time he runs. He'll probably win. He'll be going longer. Maybe we'll see him in a mile here. Who knows? Probably not a mile and 1/8. Probably a mile at Aqueduct would be my best guess, if not in Florida. But I imagine Nick Zito would like to try to break his maiden before his 3-year-old season. We'll see what happens. Just think he's a good horse to keep an eye on in this race. And, the rail wasn't his problem. The problem was, as we'll see, the horse outside of him coming in at the start. I think he would have been okay from out of there. And he really gets his momentum going towards the end. And, all good two-year-olds don't have to. We're going to try to show you the head-on of the start of this race also. But all good two-year-olds don't have to win their first starts. Sometimes they can actually gradually go through their conditions and perhaps get closer to big races, not by being flashy early. And let's look at the head-on.
Yeah, I'll see breaking from the rail, a tough spot for Fly Down, and you see the number 2 horse, Doro Dancer, come in at him right out of the start there, and that kind of pushes him, down inside a little bit more, takes maybe some of the speed he would have had away from him just by kind of being intimidated more so than even bumping there. So, made a tough spot even tougher.
Yeah, and I don't even know. I think it just cost him some position and just cost him some aggravation. Whatever, all part of the learning experience. Fly Down's going to be a good one. I think we both agree. We'll take another look at a 2-year-old first-time star, and this one's a New York bred. This was an off-the-turf race, and this was a firster that Barclay Tagg had entered named Make Mine Chocolate to run the turf. He kept him in the dirt, and we'll see the head-on of this star after the beginning, and you see him have an uncomfortable start right there. And he gets spotted some positioning here. And once again, the horse who wins the race, the 2, was on or near the lead the whole way. And he was the favorite, and it was a stretch-out race. But I thought all things considered, trouble at the start, first-time starter, going a route, way the race was run. Make Mine Chocolate runs very well.
Runs very well. And I thought made a couple of moves in this race, actually, too. You see Make Mine Chocolate sitting toward the back on the inside there. Make Mine Chocolate's going to make a little bit of run at one point in the race, or kind of around the turn a little bit. Looks like he's going to flatten out a little bit. Then he's going to come with another late run to finish second in here. So just keep in mind where he is now, and he's going to start to make a move fairly soon here. But I thought, all in all, a very impressive effort from Make Mine Chocolate, and a horse that I thought, was more turf-bred, being by Freud, than anything else here.
Yeah, I imagine it'll be interesting to see what Barclay Tagg does. Does he give him another chance in the dirt because he showed real potential in this race? I think he does. Or does he go to the turf again? We'll probably get another dirt start out of him. And Make Mine Chocolate is another horse like the one we just showed, Fly Down. Not going to be much of a price the next time he runs, but I think this is a horse that might be okay. I don't know how good these horses are, and maybe they're a bit distance challenged. Keep an eye on him. He's moving up about 4 wide here. He ends up 5 or 6 wide. Inside of him is that Gracie horse that actually has some trouble there. He gets a little bit pinched off and closes again to finish 3rd. Both of them had some trouble, and that horse is going to try to... Is that Goodnight Gracie? Is that the horse?
Great Gracie.
Great Gracie Dane. I'm sorry, I'm thinking of George Burns. And both to be watched, but Make Mine Chocolate really runs well.
Yeah, I was impressed by that first little move he made around the turn there. He passed a few horses in about 3 or 4 strides, and kind of, stayed on a little bit, then kicked on again and made a prolonged rally here to be second behind Under the Rainbow. So a very good effort for Make Mine Chocolate. And we'll take a look at the head-on of the start here. Just gets slammed and going to cost him position.
Yeah, he breaks a step slow, and then he sort of comes out a little bit, and the other one comes in and bang, just crashes into him. He goes into the one inside of him. There was plenty of trouble there. Make My Chocolate might be okay. We'll see what happens. And we have one last race to go, and it was actually the last race of the Belmont meeting, sadly.
And we'll take a look at the Mohawk Stakes. Obviously, Banrock, a big favorite here, 4-5 on the board, and as they went into the gate. But we're taking a look at the 12 My Man Lars. These mile and eighth races at Belmont on the inner turf, just so tough for outside horses, especially in big fields here. You know, if there are only 7 or 8 horses, it's one thing. But when you get a 12-horse field and they don't really separate coming out of the gate with that short run into the first turn, horses like My Man Lars can really be up against it.
You know, if we can get the rain to stop and we can actually get 5 to 6 weeks of turf racing at Aqueduct, I recommend to people that every mile and an eighth race we ran at Belmont, to watch those races carefully as you can, determine how they were run, who benefited from it, who was hurt by it, because those races can be gold mines to make money in the future, because these are all dynamic races. And My Man Lars, I mean, look where he is, and it's not Alan Garcia's fault. He's just buried. The best thing that could happen to him was he got left 2 lengths. He could have cut over the rail.
Yeah, you see him here running in about 6th or 7th down the outside, about 5 or 6 wide as well. And I think Garcia is sensing that if he didn't do anything here, he's going to be caught out 6 wide on the second turn as well. And we'll highlight him just to show you where he is. So I think he's kind of in a catch-22. He knows he's got to make some kind of move here to get into some position, but at the cost of making this move, you probably tire yourself out for any kind of stretch run here.
Yeah, I agree with you, and this is, I actually think Garcia was right in doing what he did here. He was in a no-win situation, as you say. He probably realized at this point, I can't win this race regardless. I'm just going to try to salvage the best position I can, because you're in a spot where you're in such a bad spot that you have to do something, or you're just going to finish nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely, and very, very tough going. As you said, from the start, he probably would have been better off just getting left a couple lengths. And you're going to see in the stretch, he hangs in pretty well here. Pennington's on the lead right now. Banrock's right in behind My Man Lars. Banrock's going to come up to get the lead shortly here. But, just hanging in to overcome that wide trip and having to make that premature move, just to still even have a shot in the race here is, I think, remarkable for My Man Lars.
Yeah, it was a funny race. Pennington went this semi-slow pace. It's hard to know how slow it was because of all the rain we took. And he finishes 4th in here, but boy, it felt like he really had nothing in the stretch. This seemed like one of his weaker efforts in quite a while. He'd been in such good form. What can you say about Banrock? He's just a horse of 2 years in New York. He's won 7 of the 8 stake races that we've run for the New York breds in these races. And in the meantime, he also gotten beaten a head bob by Precious Passion, who's actually the American favorite, albeit in a weak contingent in the Breeders' Cup Turf, which is coming up in a week. But Banrock is to be applauded. My Man Lars is just a victim of circumstance.
Yeah, and it's, if you follow New York racing for any length of time, these state breds, fillies and colts, they get together on the turf, they take turns beating each other. Not the case with Banrock, who's really been so consistent, so good over the last couple of years. Really got to give some kudos to Tom Bush for managing him so well.
Done a great job with him, and he's a really, really nice horse, and we look forward to seeing him again next year. Who knows, maybe we'll even see him one more time this year. That does it for this week's Trips and Traps. Once again, the email address, tripsandtraps@NYRAinc.com. Send us your thoughts. We love to hear them. We appreciate your watching, and we'll see you next week.